cars that can suddenly lose control. Would you drive one? Imagine driving down the highway at 60 or 70 miles per hour. Your hands are on the steering wheel. Everything feels completely normal. And then, suddenly something goes wrong. Maybe the steering becomes difficult. Maybe a suspension component breaks. Or maybe a tire suddenly loses pressure. In just a few seconds, a normal drive can turn into a situation where the driver has very little time to react. And the scary part is this. Some vehicles have actually been recalled in the United States because certain defects could increase the risk of losing control. Today, we're looking at some real examples. And these aren't internet rumors. These are based on safety information reported to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or NHTSA. First, let's talk about something that can completely change how a car behaves on the road: the steering system. In 2023, Nissan issued a safety recall involving certain 2020 through 2022 Nissan Sentra vehicles. The problem involved the tie rods. According to Nissan's recall information, under certain real-world conditions, the tie rod could bend. That could cause the steering wheel to become off-center or create vibration. And in the worst-case scenario, if the tie rod actually broke, it could lead to a loss of control. Think about that. You're driving normally, and a component that connects directly to your ability to steer the vehicle develops a serious problem. The good news is that recalls exist for exactly this reason. When a manufacturer identifies a safety defect, affected owners can usually have the repair performed at no charge through an authorized dealer. But there's another part of the car that can create an equally serious situation: the tires. NHTSA warns that a tire blowout can cause a vehicle to lose control. And when a tire suddenly loses a large amount of air at highway speed, the driver can have only moments to react. A common mistake is to panic and slam on the brakes. But according to NHTSA, sudden overreaction can actually make the vehicle harder to control. The recommended approach is to keep both hands on the steering wheel, gradually release the accelerator, correct the steering as necessary, and slow down once the vehicle has stabilized. Now let's move to another example. In 2024, Porsche issued information concerning certain Cayenne vehicles. The issue involved a front suspension component called an upper trailing arm. According to the recall information, the component could potentially break during the vehicle's service life. If that happened, steering could be impaired and a loss of control could not be ruled out. That sounds terrifying. But there's an important distinction. This does not mean every Cayenne is dangerous. It means certain vehicles affected by a specific recall or campaign need to be identified and repaired. And this is something many drivers forget. A recall does not automatically mean a car is a bad car. Sometimes, a recall involves a very specific component, a limited production range, or a problem that manufacturers discovered after vehicles were already on the road. The real danger is driving a vehicle with an unresolved safety recall without knowing about it. And there's an even bigger problem with used cars. Imagine buying a used vehicle from someone. It looks clean. The engine sounds good. The interior looks almost brand new. You take it for a test drive, and everything seems perfect. But what if the vehicle has an open safety recall? You might never know unless you check. That's why checking the vehicle identification number, or VIN, is so important before buying a used car. NHTSA provides a recall search that allows owners and buyers to check whether a vehicle has an unresolved safety recall. And this takes only a few minutes. So are these cars automatically dangerous? No. But can a serious mechanical or safety defect create a situation where a driver can lose control? Absolutely. And the important lesson isn't to panic about a particular brand. The lesson is to know what you're driving. Check your tire pressure. Pay attention to unusual vibrations. Don't ignore a steering wheel that suddenly feels different. And most importantly, check for open recalls. Because the difference between a normal drive and a dangerous situation can sometimes come down to one small component that most drivers never think about. So here's the question. If you found out your car had a recall involving the steering or suspension system, would you keep driving it? Or would you park it immediately until it was repaired? Let me know what you would do.